All right, everybody, welcome to Read the Line Celebrity Insider Show. Now, last week, we had Aaron Stewart on, Payne's son, to talk about Bay Hill. He was all over Billy Horschel, and Billy Horschel did pretty good. But we're talking about the Players Championship this week, so I got to go one step further for my Celebrity Insider. I have one of six men that have won this tournament more than once in their career. All right, are you kidding me? I've got Hal Sutton with me this afternoon on the Celebrity Insider Show. Read the Line. Hal, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, Keith. Thanks for having me on.
All right, now you've played the Players Championship 23 times. You got 2 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10 finishes. What was it about your game that really fit the TPC Stadium course?
Well, I think TPC Stadium is a typical Pete Dye golf course. It's point A to point B to point C. And there's a real strategy to play in it. It's not, all golf courses favor a bomber, but the bomber better be pretty straight at TPC. So I drove the ball pretty well, and I was a good iron player. So that's why I think it favored my game.
So starting this week, if we're building a model of who we think might play well and contend, we want to start with the iron game. Is that what you think?
I think TPC requires a complete game. So, but it has to be a good ball striker. And in order for the irons to really work, they got to be from the fairway. And so I think a good driver of the ball is important, as I said. And then you got to be a good iron player. You got to know when to be aggressive.
Some of those greens are tough to hit. How much do you feel short game plays a role in what's going to, take place this week there in Jacksonville?
Uh, you better be able to get it up and down when you need to get it up and down. And it can be tough there, obviously. There's a little luck involved in winning there. You got to miss it in the right spot. And that's not always luck. Normally, it's calculated where you're aiming the ball and where the miss might end up. So, and then occasionally you're going to hit one that you hope that you can get it up and down, but it'd be difficult.
Well, there's no doubt that guys are going to miss some greens. And looking ahead at the weather, it looks like it's going to be one of those March TPC weeks where there could be some rain, but there's going to be a lot of wind. We're on the coast there at Ponte Vedra. How do you feel like things are going to play out with the weather this week? I know you finished your famous 2000 win on a Monday. What was that experience like?
Well, actually, both times I won, I finished on Monday. So, even 83 was a Monday finish. Um, the golf course plays completely different whenever it's raining. It's soft, more receptive to being in the fairway. I don't know what the rough is going to be like there this year, but the golf course, when it's playing firm and fast, is a completely different golf course than when it is soft. So weather conditions will make a big difference in the outcome of the tournament.
One of the unique things about the Players Championship, and it's gone on for decades and decades, is that, and I mentioned this in the opening, you're one of a very few number of players that have won this event more than once. Why do you think that, I'll use Rory as an example. Last year he missed the cut. The year before he won. The year before that he missed the cut. Why do you think there's so much volatility, even with the best players in the world, when it comes to this golf course?
Well, you got to be on the money when you get there. And, not just on the money physically, but mentally as well. So I think that's one reason for the volatility. I some of my best memories are at TPC, and some of my worst memories are at TPC as well. And it's just the nature of a Pete Dye golf course, to be honest.
So, course history. One of the big things that everyone's making a big deal about this week is that the idea that it was in May for a long stretch of time, from '07 to 2018, and then in 2019 they went back to March. Do you think that makes that big a difference when we start looking at the historic, statistics of the players that competed there? Like, is May that much different, or is the golf course still just the golf course?
Well, Yes, it is that much different. You saw Augusta played at a different time, and it was a completely different golf course. So, you know, uh, I think getting it back to March is going to create a different golf course for the future.
I love that Augusta point. I didn't think of that, but you're right. The scoring in the golf course was completely different than what we're used to when they played in November versus April. I mean that is such a good point. All right, we're gonna get to this point now in the proceedings here in the show where I'd like to see who you favor this week, and let's start with the favorites. Is it gonna be is Rom gonna get out of his slump? Is Rory gonna play well? Who do you like from the favorites this week that are on the board?
I like the way you put his Rom going to get out of his slump. I always laugh because having been a player, I don't consider the way John Rahm has played of recent as a slump. I think he's played at such a high level for so long that he had to have a little bit of a downturn. His level of commitment and interest had to be a little more subdued for a while. You can't stay at that level for so long. But I'm putting him at the top in my favorite because I know how bad he'd love to win a TPC. And I bet he will elevate this week. Just something tells me he's going to elevate.
Well, I'm glad you put me in check there because truly he's not in a slump. It's just really around the green and the putting that has troubled him in the last month or so. Is this the type of place? Because the greens are the greens that challenging for putting? I mean, does it mitigate putting? And will that allow him to kind of step up because his ball striking is out of this world?
Yeah, but he's a great putter, first of all. Let's just, I know that he had a little bit of a mishap last week, but or maybe even for a couple of weeks. But this is a great time for him to get it back. TPC's got one of the greatest practice facilities in the world, and the air that hovers over TPC is every player is aware of it. He knows how much money he's playing for there. He knows that the best field in the game is there. It's time to elevate, and I think John Rahm will elevate.
Okay, so the top of the board, we like the number one player in the world. Is there somebody middle of the road, or could even a long shot like a Siwoo Kim do something this year? Is there another name whose form you like heading into this week?
So we hadn't heard much out of Dustin Johnson in a little while, and I kind of have a feeling that he might have a really good week this week. He's got the game to play well there, and he hasn't won a TPC, and I know he would love to have that in his resume. So that's kind of my second pick.
Okay, now you mentioned this just a second ago. Everybody's talking about the money. Now you've been there. All right, back in 2000 when you won, you were the first $1 million first place winner at the event. Now this time they're playing for 3.6 million. Does the largest purse in golf make these guys even the slightest bit nervous? Does it amp them up? What does that do to the field this week? I have this gut feeling that come Sunday people might be a little more nervous, but you're the guy to ask. You've been there when the purse made a jump up to 1 million, and you knew what that shot on 17 on Sunday meant. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is that big a deal this week to these guys?
I've never played for the kind of money these guys are playing for, so I'm not sure I can answer that question. It's interesting. When I won TPC in '83. It was the first six-digit check that the tour had ever paid, and then when I won it in 2000, it was the first seven-digit check that the tour ever paid. But I didn't play either one of those events for money. I played those events because I was competing and wanting to beat my peers, and I think that's still going to be the case even though the prize is 3.6 million. These guys have a lot of money. Anybody that's fixing to win this golf tournament is already secure. And what happens on that day financially is not going to make or break them. But winning that tournament or losing that tournament could make or break them. So they're going to feel pressure just from the fact of winning, not because of the money. I don't think.
All right, folks, you have it there from the man, two-time winner of the Players Championship, 1983, 2000 over Tiger Woods. You know what? You were the best guest today for sure there, Mr. Hal Sutton. 14-time tour winner. I can't thank you enough for your insights and coming on the Read the Line show.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it.